Hey everybody, this is my brackish tank and I'm just going to shoot a quick video here of me feeding Butterbean my figure 8 puffer in there. I'm going to give him some bloodworms tonight, and of course the Bumblebee Gobies that are in there always enjoy getting some bloodworms too. So he usually gets a little freaked out by my spoon going in the tank. Don't know why. He's been seeing it for many years now, but he still seems to get a little freaked out by it. And he's just a fascinating little fish to watch. He's already thinking he's going to get more. He seems to enjoy snatching them out of the water column more so than he does going down to the bottom and picking them off the bottom. He will do that, but right now he's waiting to see if I'm going to drop any more in rather than look around on the bottom of the tank. He'll do that once I've gone away, but he's going to make good and sure there's no more coming in. And he knows, of course, if he sits there looking cute like that, I'm going to go ahead and put some more in for him. And it's interesting, he doesn't eat the whole thing. He chews it up, he slurps it in like it's a piece of spaghetti, and then he spits out what I always think of as the empty sausage casing. He sucks all the meat out of the inside and I guess effectively spits out the skin of the worm. And these aren't worms in the traditional sense. These are actually red mosquito larvae. They just call them red bloodworms. So I'm not exactly sure what you would call that around a mosquito larvae, but he definitely spits out the skin, I'll call it. And now he's going down and finding some on the bottom. You can always see what looks like a little puff of smoke come out of his mouth. That's when he's chewing the meat out. And I guess it's just really fine little bits of meat as he's slurping it out of the inside of the sausage casing. So he'll go around and scour the tank for the rest of the night now that he knows I've put food in there. That'll keep him occupied. Let me see if I can get a little better angle without freaking him out too much. He really doesn't like being in front of this camera, especially when I get it down close like this. I'm not actually zooming in, I'm just putting the camera closer to him at this point, and it always sort of distracts him and disrupts him. He doesn't particularly care for it. But he's not going to let this camera. See that little puff of smoke coming out of his mouth? I'm waiting for him to start blowing smoke rings one day. He's got the mouth shape for it. So I'm actually going to just dump in the rest of the bloodworms I've got for him. It's not many, but he eats them, and so do the Bumblebee Gobies in here. And so they definitely don't go to waste. The Bumblebee Gobies are difficult feeders. Mine have actually gotten to where when I crumble up flake food, and I do have to crumble up some flake food and put it in this tank now, especially since I have the two Endler's Guppies that we have not seen. They're swimming around up in the top. Presumably they're still in there. Let me squat down here for a moment and have a look-see and find out if they are or not. They were this morning. And there's at least one of them. So I have to put flake food in this tank now, just so that these little Endlers up here get some food. And then, like I say, the Bumblebee Gobies, which are notoriously picky eaters, will actually eat some of the flake food now. But for the most of the time I've had them, I've tried getting them to eat flake food. They usually ignored it, but about once a week I'll usually crumble a little bit in there. And when I say flake food, again, I'm talking about those color-enhancing crisps. I sort of just crumble it up so it's really small pieces. And over time, they've gotten used to them. They will, I've seen them go over and eat them. They're not really keen on them, but if that's the food that comes into the tank, they will go ahead and eat it. So I've got mine eating what we'll call flake food. They will definitely eat the bloodworms. They love the bloodworms. And largely, a lot of the time they will get their food is just following the puffer around and cleaning up his mess, because puffers are really messy eaters. A lot of waste, goes past and gets all broken up and into the water column. He's pretty good at hiding back there, isn't he? So, for example, when I put freeze-dried krill in there for him to munch on, he's a messy eater, and since he's, breaking loose little pieces and bits and crumbles are going through the water, it's already broken down into small enough parts that the Bumblebee Gobies are able to just, clean up his scraps. So I don't even have to really prepare the shrimp for the gobies. I can just put it in there for the puffer, and then the way the puffer eats it, he sort of prepares enough for the gobies to eat. And then of course snails are the same way. When I put the snails in there, the puffer chews them up and grinds them up, and there's little bits of stuff going everywhere, and the little gobies come over and they feast on whatever the puffer doesn't get to eat. So I've only seen the one guppy in there at the moment, so it's possible that we've got a dead guppy in the tank somewhere. It could be floating up in the vegetation. They're so small, I keep calling them guppies. I believe they're Endlers. It might be a hybrid of some sort, I don't know. But we could have a dead one in there somewhere. Let me have a little look around here. There doesn't appear to be any floating in the vegetation. There is an old piece of uneaten krill in the vegetation, but it doesn't appear to be any guppies in there. Yet I'm still only seeing that one. So there could be one, maybe stuck to the bottom of the power head. Maybe there's one tucked underneath of a rock somewhere, I'm not sure, but it's really unusual that I'm only seeing that one guppy swimming around. They're almost always together, and even if they're not together, I don't know why I'm not seeing the other one somewhere in the tank. So I'll keep my eyes open for it. I'm gonna call this a video. I just wanted to do something quick, and Butterbean here is always a popular fish. He's a really cool guy there. I guess he's a guy. I have no idea, honestly. I don't even know if they have any kind of sexual dimorphism in this species or not. It might be impossible to tell until they're breeding. I have no idea. But I've always thought of him as a little guy. I always call him a little guy, so I'm going to stick with that, right or wrong. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed. You don't want to miss anything I got coming up. I will let you know whether I find that other guppy or not. Don't forget, this is my brackish tank. Thanks for watching this one, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.